All right, everyone, welcome back into another fantasy golf video. Going to be breaking down round 3 here of the Valspar Championship, giving you guys all my favorite bets for both PrizePicks Underdog, but also talking about my favorite head-to-head bets and 3-bolt bets. Then we're going to jump on into the showdown slate for DraftKings, touch on that real quickly, and showing you guys what the optimal lineup is looking like for that slate. But first, I want to get into a quick recap of round 1 and round 2, talk about the cut sweats that were had. So first and foremost, we need to give a quick shout out to Neil Shipley for his bogey on 18, which allowed Michael Kim to make the cut, which is ultimately going to end up saving my week. I have a bunch of lineups that are 4 out of 6, which is really what I was expecting on the week to be the norm. 4 out of 6 lineups, that is for everyone, and that is what ended up being the case. So a majority of lineups have 4 out of 6 across the cut line. That is the norm, and then only 5% have 6 for 6 across the cut line, and 2.5 in cash. So this week has basically went as expected, a decent amount of variance, which again, that's basically what we were expecting, especially when you factored in the big wins that were projected to get and did end up getting. Now, if we look at the chalk is actually doing pretty darn well this week. Again, Michael Kim was one of the players that ended up making the cut, but other than that, guys like Bazoon Howard was kind of chalky, he missed the cut. Sam Burns kind of chalky, he missed the cut. But the chalk this week is actually doing pretty darn well, which is certainly interesting. There, we go ahead and take a peek at the top end of the leaderboard. Jacob Bridgman was a player that I got on as the week progressed, mostly due to the weather advantage, so I kind of got lucky there. But then not too many players on the top end doing all too well. I mean, Xander, nice to see him playing well. That's awesome. Kind of pulling for him, but I don't want him to win just yet. I want this to be a good week so we can bet him to win the Masters, because if he pairs together a good week here and maybe another week prior to the Masters, I'm not sure if he's going to play another event, but that could be something we jump onto there. But what's kind of annoying right now is that some of the value plays that I called out to you guys, like Ricky Castillo, Jeremy Paul, I'm like the only one out there on Jeremy Paul this week, and I highlighted him on the live stream. It's kind of interesting there. It's kind of annoying though, like just that for a lot of my builds, the players that are doing well, Jeremy Paul, Ricky Castillo, are outperforming like Tommy Fleetwood, who is the player I had the most exposure to this week. So kind of annoying there. You would expect Tommy Fleetwood to play much better there. But don't be kicking yourself if you guys don't have 6 for 6 across the cut line. That was expected. Expected to be a high variance week. But if you got 6 for 6 across the cut line, like I mentioned a bunch, you probably have a much better chance at taking down a GPP as a result, because you probably have, let's, for example, Ricky Castillo, Jeremy Paul, Jacob Bridgman, maybe Xander. You probably had Substraka, who you'd expect to have a good weekend. Tommy Fleetwood, you expect to have a good weekend. And so, it has basically went as you would expect. Now, let's go ahead and get into some 3-ball bets. Do want to call it that the weather does not seem to be an issue at all for round 3, which is good. That's refreshing here. Kind of annoying having to worry about weather and weather splits and whatnot. But let's go ahead and take a peek here, guys. So as always, I like to sort by where we're getting a positive edge. And because these are only pairs of 2s, I typically don't like to attack these slates. And so really, we're not getting any massive edges to me. And so for the most part, the bets that are popping up as good bets, I don't feel the need for us to go out of our way to attack them. Like Victor Perez to win his group, I guess I'm fine with. But Willie Z to beat Corey Connors, I'm also fine with. But once we start to go down that list too much, I don't really want to be attacking them too much. So really, just these top 2 are going to be the 2 that I'm going to recommend for these 3-way bets. And that's going to be about it. Now, in round 1, we did not have a good 3-ball betting day. 0 for 2. Both the players ended up finishing second in their groups, which was a little bit annoying there, but is what it is. We did end up hitting a first-round leader there in Keith Mitchell. Another full first-round leader lost due to a player making a bogey late in his round on 17 or 18. He actually made a bogey on 17 or 18. That's the 4th one this year, I believe. I know for sure 3. Nick Taylor was the one that burnt the most because it was a short putt that he missed on 18. A little bit tilting there, but don't want to complain about a good round 1. We're going to go ahead and jump on into some 3-ball bets here as well. And so, guys, for these matchup bets, again, I'm just going to target the more popular books, so DraftKings, FanDuel, and BetMGM. And so what we're looking at here is I want to start with sorting by where we're getting any plus EV bets, just to show you guys, if you guys like any of these, you can target them by any means. So right now, we are seeing Tommy Fleetwood to be Justin Thomas in round 3 is a good EV bet. Okay, so this is a bet that we should be going out of our way to target. And we also have Joe Highsmith to beat Beau Hosler. Okay, so these are 2 good bets that we should be targeting, one on FanDuel, one on DraftKings. So just looking at it, guys, through and through, a pretty good edge there for Tommy Fleetwood. So Yeah, just a bet that we need to be targeting there. Good EV bet, and also just the 9 to 5 data also likes it a little bit as well, or at least we're not losing an edge via the 9 to 5 data as well. And then same thing here for Joe Highsmith over Bo Hosler as well. So another bet that correlates pretty well for us. Then we could continue on. We are getting our action in on Willie Z over Corey Connors on the three-way bets. And so the only difference is the tie factor. You know, obviously they could always tie, and if you guys are worried about the tie, you'd just be better off placing a bet on the head-to-head bets. It's not going to pay out as much, but I mean, does that really matter? I mean, Willie Z is at -105. You're probably actually better off doing this. Okay, so this is actually, I would actually recommend doing this instead. Okay. Man, we're getting a lot. Corey Connors then over Willie Z is not a bad bet. Sorry, yeah, that's the same bet. I'm reading it. Corey Connors losing to Willie Z. So yeah, whatever, you guys get that. And so let's go ahead and flip it around. We'll sort it by the 9 to 5 edge now. Via the odds that we're getting here. Okay, so this is the exact opposite of what I just said. So yeah, it's where it's a little bit different. Nah, just stick to it with the three-way bet, guys. Stick to it with the three-way bet there for Willie Z over Corey Connors. That's the best route to go. And we're actually not getting that many when we sort by the 9 to 5 bets. So let's just go with these two. Tommy Fleetwood over Justin Thomas and Joe Highsmith over Bo Hosler. I think those are pretty solid bets to start with. Then real quickly, I do want to jump on into some potential outright odds that you guys could, think about targeting, some live bets, because to me, guys, this field in this tournament is really wide open for anyone to win, really in general. And so it's up for you guys to decide if you want to play some live bets. Obviously, Xander, kind of the class of the field. If he is truly back, we can get him at 7-1 on BetMGM. Like, that is something that we would want to be doing. He is still shaking off the rust slightly, though. We do know that this does still feel like somewhat of a tune-up week. It feels like he's trying to get ready for the Masters. That being said, obviously, if you're playing well and swinging it well, who cares? Like, you're going to go out and win. So that's not a terrible bet. Okay, I think you could justify that bet. But from there, I think I actually would probably want to next get to Seb Straka, who's not that far off, guys. He's 25-1, so not like crazy. And he does need to make up some ground, but this is a tougher scoring track, and all it takes is one really good day like Shane Lowry had to really flip the script, and then you're end up getting pretty good odds on him. Jeremy Paul is someone that wasn't like a terrible play this week, and he's at 40-1. I'm not saying jump on that, but like, again, like a player that's, not too crazy to be playing well, not terribly unexpected. And we're getting him at some crazy deep odds for a golfer that has been playing good golf for quite some time. And same thing with Jacob Bridgman. Like, that's why people were on him a decent amount. I don't feel the need to bet Jacob Bridgman at 7-1. But at the same time, I don't think I would argue with you guys if you wanted to do that as well. So in summary, probably just going Xander here, okay? Or, trying to chase a longer shot bet like Seb Straka. This feels a lot like round 4 of the Players' Championship, where I mentioned, yeah, JJ Spawn is probably the most likely to win, but you guys could easily jump on Rory at 6.5-1, or potentially chase Patrick Cantlay, where if he plays mistake-free golf and you can get him at like 20-1, all pretty good odds. That's kind of how it feels like here. Going into round 3, like Seb Straka could climb. If not, it's probably going to be one of the top 2 guys that you can get at 7-1 odds, which is not terrible. And then real quickly, guys, let's go ahead and jump on into some prop bets here. So do want to start with some of these prop line differences that we are getting here, and I want to start out with Xander Schauffele. So I already just mentioned how I really think Xander Schauffele, is kind of tuning up, and it could be something that you potentially jump on as a live outright bet. But at the same time, he is still coming back from that injury. It wouldn't be too shocking to see him not have a great round in round 3. And I also think we are going to see a little bit more of difficult pin placements, simply because we couldn't see as difficult of a setup at this course because the wind was already gusting a bunch. So I think we could actually see the course now play a little bit more difficult rather than it's simply playing difficult because of the weather. And so if that ends up happening, we could see, I don't want to say as big of like rounds, as big of like blow pulls, but at the same time, I do think we could see it still play difficult and not surrender low scores. And so I don't mind the idea of betting Xander Schauffele over 68.5 strokes. He's also at 4.5 birdies, and I think we'd be wanting to bet the under there as well. I would actually pair that up with Benny Ann or Saeed Tagala for over their strokes of 69.5. We're noticing that those are big prop line differences. If you wanted to do Tom Kim as well, I wouldn't hate that there as well. Let's sort of by edge real quick as well. So Xander Schauffele under 4.5 birdies or better is the best bet that we are seeing. Okay, so not a terrible route to go. And then we could end up stacking some of these over birdies or better. All of them are pretty good spots. You guys know the spiel by now. We're better off placing these bets on a site like Betr, where we're getting 5 to 6 bets where we're being told to bet 3.5 birdies or better. And so because of that, if you guys want to bet on a site like Betr, obviously flash that promo there. Click the link in the description below. As I'm recording this video, they aren't getting them out. They are typically a little bit slower, guys, for the PGA prop bets. They will come out. Okay, so just be on the lookout for that. Again, link to join is in the description below. The whole point behind that is they are not discounting the bets at all. Or sorry, they're not discounting the payouts as much as PrizePicks or Underdog does for bets that we are stacking. And they do pay out a little bit better for 4 out of 6 bets and 5 out of 6 bet slips. So not a terrible route to go there. But yeah, Xander Schauffele under his birdie or better is a good bet. You could pair that with Benny Ann for over his strokes of 69.5 as well. You could also potentially do his under 4 birdies or better just here, guys. Okay, because this is basically a bet on him not getting 5 birdies or better, which is already what we're doing for Xander. And so both of those are going to be good routes to go. And actually, let's do this as the bet of the day for PrizePicks. Those two for their under. And then no need to get into Underdog because it's basically going to be the exact same. Let's call it those prop line differences again. If you think Shane Lowry, Tom Kim, Xander, or Benny Ann are going to have good rounds, bet their unders. We don't need to do that just yet, but did want to call that out there for you guys. And if you guys are interested in signing up for any of those sites and have never done so before, if you guys are looking to sign up for Underdog, use the promo code 925 spelled out. They'll give you guys a 50% deposit match. That's a simple and easy way to help out the channel and help out your bankroll. Link to join that is going to be in the description below, as well as PrizePicks, where you can use the number 9TO5 get a $50 instantly deposited into your account when you spend your first $5. And so now, guys, we're going to jump into the round 3 showdown picks. And so we're going to click on round 3 here, and we're going to click on a showdown rank. Now, just a reminder, these are going to be priority-based projections, and we do need to sort by players that made the cut here. Now, this is already factored in when you pull it into something like the 9-to-5 lineup optimizer. That's already filtering out. But looking at it, guys, right now, these are priority-based projections. We are probably looking at Tommy Fleetwood to have a good round. Harry Hall's popping up in there, and Xander Schauffele. So the way I'm reading this is we're probably paying up for Tommy Fleetwood, for Xander, and Seb Straka. They're popping up in there. I would argue that you probably want to play at least one of those golfers in all of your builds. And so if you are using the 9-to-5 lineup builder, that's something you should probably end up doing. From there, it does open up a little bit. Obviously, Harry Hall is someone we can get to. Buck Cauley's not terrible. Joe Highsmith, Jacob Bridgman, not terrible. If you want to continue to roll with someone like Jeremy Paul, he's not terrible as well. He's been vastly disrespected. I mean, he was less than 1% owned. I mean, that's just crazy to me. I thought, I mentioned this on the live stream. I mentioned like Davis Riley's getting all this outright love. I'm like, he's kind of the same play. And it's funny because like they're right, but also I'm right. I'm like, oh, Jacob Bridgman. I did mention Kevin Roy. He sucked. But then I was like, Ricky Castillo, Jeremy Paul. Like just all these golfers that are also playing well. So we're all right there in that regard. So, but it was interesting that people were betting on Davis Riley and not those golfers for the exact same reasons, because they kind of all popped for the same reason. But yeah, guys, we're just going to load up the 9-to-5 lineup builder. And again, we just need to give it 2 data points to go off of. So I'm going to tell it that I want to be on Xander and Tommy Fleetwood, and then we'll bump up Seb Straka a little bit. We're just bumping them up by 2. We're just going to click generate to see what kind of lineups it's spitting out to us for round 3. And obviously you guys can build off of this. And so just looking at the top build, it's going to be Tommy Fleetwood, Jaeger, Bridgman, Dietrich, Harry Hall, and Ryan Gerard. Not too crazy. Okay, that makes perfect sense. And then the exposures right now, all Tommy Fleetwood. Again, that makes sense based off of what we just saw. But I'm probably going to do 30% max exposure, 3 unique players, and hope that we end up on a good side. Thankfully, though, there isn't a specific weather split or advantage. Now, guys, that's going to do it for this video. Do remind you guys of the 9-to-5 membership, though. Get access to all the tools that you saw in this video, plus much more. For just $10 a month, get you access to all the fantasy golf tools, as well as all the prop betting tools as well. Make better bets, make better and more educated bets. Head on over to 9to5sports.com today. Get access to all the tools for just $10 a month. Thank you for watching. Good luck with all your bets. And as always, let's keep cashing.